Welcome to the Get Real Podcast, your high-octane boost of full-on reality therapy for personal, business, and investing success with your host, Ron Phillips, because somebody's got to tell it like it is.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Get Real Podcast. Ron Phillips here. I'm about as thrilled as a person can be about this new thing called Doge. I'm not talking about Dogecoin. Although I did buy some Dogecoin back in the day when it was all the rage. I sold it though, and I bought Shiba Inu, which was the new rage. I still have, I know you're probably laughing right now if you know anything about, and I, by the way, I know nothing about cryptocurrency, which is why I have Shiba Inu, but I still have some. And, it hasn't had the same run that Bitcoin has had. Anyway. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about today. I wanted to talk about this new Department of Government Efficiency. I gotta say, I am a fan. Now, you may or may not be a fan. It may scare you to death. You may have all sorts of feelings about it. But I'm going to tell you why I'm a fan of it. And I'm also going to hopefully help you understand that you need a department of personal efficiency or dope. So we have Doge and we have dope today, but let's start with Doge because I'm pretty excited about it. If you haven't heard, this is a new department of the government to shrink the size of other departments of the government, get rid of the fraud, waste, abuse, and general inefficiency of, many of the departments in the government who are bloated, gigantic, impossible to turn. Anyway, they have problems and they need something like this. So I am super pumped about this. I am generally of a mind that if 50% of the government shut down, depending on what 50% of it was shut down, that neither you nor I would even know that it happened. So I'm a fan of this. Now, this is being run by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. And so that twists people into knots. Not me. I'm neither a fan of Elon, nor do I think he's a villain. I think he's just a guy, and he happens to be a guy who's pretty good at business. And so is Vivek. So I think they are certainly qualified for this. And so what they've been tasked with is to go in and find inefficiencies. Let me give you an example of a recent inefficiency that I have experienced. Maybe you'll have something that is similar. I recently got my taxes from my personal house. My taxes went up 4 times. So not like 40%, like 4 times. So I knew there was a problem because here in South Carolina, we have this thing in my county in South Carolina. We have this thing where, if you're not a resident here or you own more than one property, you have to pay more taxes on the properties that are not your personal residence. And you have to apply for the reduction. So last year we met with our attorney for our asset protection and estate planning. And he suggested that we title the property a certain way. So we did. This triggered internally in the assessor's office. This triggered a change of ownership where, in spite of the fact that there was a change of ownership, there was for them. Okay, I get it. I called in and I said, hey, what's the deal? And they said, look, you had a change. I said, oh yeah, we did. Okay. They said, so you have to reapply. And I thought, okay, I mean, I can understand that too. That's fine. So how do I reapply? Well, they've gotten all new and fancy. You can apply online. I had to email a whole bunch of documents and stuff in, but now you can upload them online. This is a great new efficiency. However, all of the things that I had already submitted, they're all the same. Literally, the only thing that should have needed to be done is for me to say, it's still me. Everything still applies. I don't, like, nothing changed. So if I signed something that said nothing changed, I shouldn't need to upload a whole bunch, go searching for documents, get a whole bunch of crap and upload it. I should be able to just sign something that says, hey, under penalty of whatever you want to penalize me, I am the same person. I literally just did this shift. That's really it. They shouldn't need any of this other stuff. Because they need your full tax returns and they need all of this stuff. And my full tax returns are gigantic. And so because it's just a pain in the butt. The whole thing is a pain in the butt. It's not as bad as going to the DMV, but it's still a pain in the butt. So while they've done some things that have increased efficiency, they still have some things that if somebody actually went in there and looked, they would say, okay, well, this makes total sense. All we have to do is do a tweak right here. And then this is also streamlined. It's also increased its efficiency. And then there's places like the DMV, which, my gosh, I mean, could they use an overhaul? Probably 50% less people and a whole lot more automation is required, I think, for the DMV. And a whole host of other things in the government. So I am super excited about this. I think there are large portions of certain departments and sub-departments in the government that probably don't even need to exist at all. So I'm very excited about this. Now, why do I mention this today? Because it's kind of a hot topic issue. Some of you maybe feel exactly the opposite of the way that I do. And for those of you who are, I hope that if you eliminate the two people who are in charge of it, but you actually think about what it's doing, that you actually think, oh my gosh, yeah, this is okay. The government doesn't need to continue to grow exponentially with no bumper rails. It just doesn't. So I relate this to ourselves, to you, to your business, to your personal life. And that's why I think we all should have a DOPE, Department of Personal Efficiency. So what does that mean in our business and our personal life? Well, we are in the age of, it used to be that the big ate the small. Back when I was a kid, I remember Walmart coming in for the first time, and little old Kmart was, I mean, they were up in arms. Our local grocery store was up in arms. I mean, they were scared to death is what they were, that this gigantic company was going to come in and eliminate them from existence. Now, that did happen to Kmart, but it didn't happen to the local grocery store. And the reason is because they pivoted. They became the place where if you wanted great service, of course they had already given that, but they leaned into the service. They leaned into the quality of the products they had in their store. So they went the opposite of the way Walmart was going, and they captured and they retained that type of customer who wanted those things. And everybody else went over to Walmart. But they actually grew. They did quite well. They opened another store in my little town, and everything went well for them. But it didn't for Kmart. And the reason is because Kmart didn't compete. There was no speed. So it used to be that the big ate the small. Today, it isn't that way. Today, you can eat the big by going faster than them, by being more nimble than them. And that's the problem that I have with the government. It is not nimble. It does not change with the times. It is gigantic behemoth. If you think about a boat with a tiny little rudder in the back, it's massive, massive ship, and it has a tiny little rudder in the back. You can't turn it fast enough for the incoming waves, for the new technology and everything that's coming. And government is almost always behind. I think we've talked about the real estate market and the real estate brokerage. It is archaic the way real estate is transacted, the way that real estate the way that the real estate licensure laws work, it's archaic. And there's big tech has been coming in and driving, trying to really shake things up for years. And they keep getting pushback from the government and from the National Association of Realtors. And it reminds me of when developers are coming in and they're trying to build what the people want, and the government regulates them out of town and won't let them do it for years and years and years. And all that development goes to another city that's close by. Like in Kansas City, I've told you guys about what happened there when the government in Kansas City, Missouri, put all these hefty taxes in place, and they were not business friendly. All of the businesses, all of the small businesses moved over to Johnson County, Kansas, right across the river. In Johnson County, Kansas, they got all of the tax revenue from all of these businesses. Stupid. Well, we do that in our lives. We do that in our business lives, and the government does that routinely. So what I am suggesting to you, to me, is to have this DOPE, Department of Personal Efficiencies. So go in and look for the fraud, waste, and abuse in your personal budget, in your personal life, and where might that reside? So on a financial perspective, I don't know about you, but occasionally when I go through my finances, I find that I am paying, and this just happened probably 3 or 4 months ago. I was looking and I was paying for multiple streaming services that were the same. I was double and triple paying for streaming services because inside of different, when you sign up for Amazon Prime, they may have a free trial of Max and, name your streaming service. And then those things automatically start billing you. And then I might have already had a subscription for Max or whatever else. And so now I'm paying for 2. I didn't know that I was paying for 2. And there's a really cool place inside of your iPhone where you can go in there and you can look for your subscriptions through your Apple service. And inside of there, you might find you also have subscriptions you're double paying for that you already have those services. That is waste. And to me, it was pretty abusive that day when I actually found out. And one of them, I had a Disney subscription I never signed up for, Disney Plus, and I couldn't figure out where it was. It wasn't direct through Disney Plus because I didn't have that, and so I couldn't cancel it. I couldn't figure out what service provider it was under, and it was still charging me. I actually had to call the card and tell them to stop that payment because I couldn't figure out how to cancel it. So this DOPE should go into your budget and your finances, and it should root out everything that's in there that is wasteful and abusive to you. Okay, it is, whether you want to. What I guarantee you, when you go looking for it, that was abusive to me the day that I realized it, and it had been going on forever. I was just wasting money. So, DOPE for your personal. But what about the inefficiencies in the way that we do things? Are we making multiple trips? Like for me, I have to drive and I want to go get something. I have to go drive to Mount Pleasant, which is close by, but it's still 15 to 20 minutes away. Am I being efficient about the way that I'm using my time, both in my personal life and in my business life? How efficient am I being? And are there ways, just because I've done things a certain way in business and in my personal life, the same way for a long time, is that the best way? Just recently in our business, we went through an efficiency exercise where we were trying to talk about, these are the ways that we do things. Are they the best way? And is there a way that we can use technology to enhance or speed up, make this more efficient so that we can take the people who are doing that and not get rid of them, but utilize them in a different way as we're growing? So can we replace people with technology, and maybe part of what people are doing with technology that can do it faster? And can we then take the talent that we already have and utilize that to grow in a different way where technology hasn't been able to serve us yet, right? Interaction with our clients and things like that technology just can't do just yet, right? So are there ways that we can make our lives more efficient, make our businesses more efficient? And while we can't hire Elon and Vivek to do this for us, if you need help from a business perspective for your finances, you actually can hire people to do that. You can hire people to come in and look at your finances. When I actually found this out in my personal life, I hired a bookkeeper, and I have my fractional CFO do a small look at anything that changes on a month-to-month basis on a move forward, so they can tell me if anything like that happens, because I'm too busy to do that kind of stuff for myself. So I have other people who do that for me, and they help me stay and become more efficient, from a financial perspective. And I'm always looking at my time to try to figure out how can I use my time more efficiently, which you guys probably have noticed. I do some of these podcasts in my truck now. And the reason I do that is because instead of me sitting down at my desk and talking to you for 15, 20, 30 minutes, I can do that while I'm going to do something else that is important for the day. So I'm killing two birds with one stone. I'm trying to become more efficient. And I invite everyone to do this. So do this in your personal life, do this in your business life, and get excited about this being done for our government. Even if you're not yet, just think about it. I think if you think about it, you can get pretty excited about it. And I'll also state this. The one thing that I've heard that's a big negative about this is that there's all these people who may potentially lose their jobs. That may be true. But there are a ton of jobs in the workforce that can be done. There are so many jobs out there looking for great talent. So the question is, if you have one of those government jobs, are you the great talent? Or are you a drag? If you're the great talent, you're probably not going anywhere. You'll probably move from that department to somewhere else where they need great talent. If you're not great talent, my suggestion would be to become great talent. Whether you're working for the government, or you're working for someone else, or you're working for yourself. If you're not great talent, you're always replaceable. And unfortunately, that's just the hard truth. So I invite you, dope it up, people. Get out there and dope it up. Till next week. Well, get out there and make something happen.
This has been the Get Real Podcast. To subscribe and for more information, including a list of all episodes, go to getrealestatesuccess.com.